Natural disasters are one thing on our planet that humans really have little control over. With each year, they seem to be getting more intense and are almost always unpredictable. Aside from the obvious things, there are a few events lurking on the horizon that have scientists particularly concerned. We don't know when these events will happen, but when they do, the devastation could be unlike anything seen before. From a fault line in California threatening the lives of millions of people, to a volcano that could potentially cause a tsunami which would hit Miami, here are 5 disasters that are simply waiting to happen. One volcano that potentially poses a great risk to the United States is the Cumbre Vieja, located in the Canary Islands of Spain. Scientists have found that the island of La Palma could collapse at some point in the future due to a volcanic eruption from the Cumbre Vieja volcano. Eruptions from this volcano seem to occur once every 200 years, with the most recent eruption occurring just last year. Thankfully, this recent eruption did not trigger the scenario we're about to describe, but there were certainly fears that it would. The biggest threat from a powerful eruption is the western flank of the volcano sliding down into the Atlantic. If this occurred, the perfect storm for a mega tsunami would be in motion, and the waves would move westwards towards the Bahamas, the rest of the Caribbean, and the eastern United States. Data is still being gathered, with some projections showing the waves from this tsunami could only be about 30 feet in height, while other projections show that they could get as high as 300 feet. The good news is that if such an event were to occur, the eastern states would have some time to prepare. The United States Tsunami Warning Center would start monitoring the size of the waves from a system of buoys in the Atlantic Ocean. This would give people in the eastern states about a couple of hours to head as far west as possible to avoid any destruction. When it comes to California and earthquakes, it seems most people have their attention set on the San Andreas fault line. This fault runs almost the entire length of the state, and people seem to be anxiously awaiting for the day a major earthquake occurs here. However, there is another fault line not too far away that people in the western United States should keep just as close of an eye on. The Cascadia Subduction Zone runs for about 700 miles along the coast of the Pacific Northwest. It begins around Cape Mendocino in California, continues through Oregon, and ends at about Vancouver Island in Canada. The reason why this stretch of land is referred to as a subduction zone is due to the fact that part of the region has one tectonic plate sliding underneath another one. Tectonic plates are responsible for rearranging the planet's continents, and while their movements are generally slow and harmless, occasionally the areas where these borders meet can be deadly. The biggest fear is that the Cascadia subduction zone would give away all at once, producing an earthquake somewhere in the 8.7 to 9.2 magnitude range. To make matters worse, a significant event within this subduction zone would displace a tremendous amount of seawater. This water would travel in many directions, with the majority hammering the American Northwest. The water would cover approximately 140,000 square miles of land, including major cities like Seattle, Portland, and Olympia. It would be the single worst natural disaster to have occurred in the history of the United States. Some projections indicate that up to 13,000 people would lose their lives during this event, with thousands more suffering injuries. Plus, over 1 million people would be displaced. Research shows the fault line created a magnitude 9.0 earthquake in the year 1700. Scientists suggest there is a 300 to 500 year window in which another major Cascadia event will occur. It seems we're already in the middle of this period, so who knows when something will give? Hopefully, not in any of our lifetimes. About 74,000 years ago, a volcano in Indonesia erupted, and it changed life on Earth at the time. A layer of ash about 6 inches thick coated the entire Indian subcontinent, and the global temperature dropped for years. The worst part? This volcano still exists today. Of course, we're talking about the infamous Lake Toba supervolcano. While there is some scientific debate over how much the eruption impacted humanity's evolution, one thing was clear. This was a huge event, and under different conditions, it could have potentially wiped out humanity before we even got a chance to get started. Research indicates the volcano's magma-generating engine remains active. That means the huge magma reservoir underneath the caldera continues to grow, and when it erupts again, it could be just as big as the one all those years ago. Thankfully, it seems that many scientists are confident that we won't experience another major eruption for many thousands of years. But they're still keeping a close eye on the Sumatra fault line. If this fault line, which runs through Mount Toba and bisects the island, were to become active yet again, it could reawaken the magma chamber early. The islands of Hawaii are known for many things, one of which being the Kilauea volcano. But it's not just this volcano that has some people worried. On the southern flank sits the Helena Slump, an area of land that extends down towards the sea and is sliding by about 4 inches per year. However, if an event were to occur to cause the slump to slide entirely into the ocean, it could have catastrophic consequences to the surrounding area. The massive slide could potentially generate a large earthquake. And with such a massive earthquake occurring in the vicinity, it could generate a mega tsunami with waves measuring 1,000 feet across the Hawaiian Islands. While Hawaii would bear most of the brunt of the damage, it's possible California would be unable to get out of this situation unscathed. If the waves were big enough, then they could travel hundreds of miles per hour and hit the Golden Coast. As recently as 1975, slight movement from the Helena Slump created a smaller but still somewhat destructive tsunami that managed to reach California. And that was a small one. The big one, as it were, could perhaps cause a lot more destruction on the continental United States. Scientists are fairly certain such a major event will not occur for several more millennia. But under the right conditions, it could occur within our lifetimes. Turkey is a country that is actually pretty prone to earthquakes. Many severe ones have occurred here, such as the one that occurred in 1999, and it's expected that many more will happen in the future. The city of Istanbul is probably most at risk should a major earthquake occur. With a population of over 15 million people, a severe quake here could cause untold levels of destruction. In February of 2021, officials from the Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality presented various studies to the Turkish Earthquake Measures Research Commission. Their research revealed the potential scope of damage residents could face. They estimate that roughly 200,000 buildings would experience moderate to severe damage, leading to over 3 million people being affected. They went on to explain the possible damages to water mains, sewer mains, and natural gas systems in the event of a magnitude 7.5 or higher quake. Now, since presenting this information, not a whole lot has been done. The real issues lie within the city's 790,000 plus buildings built before the year 2000, when new building codes and regulations were put into place. All the people of Turkey can really do is wait and hope for the best. In 2014, a powerful 8.2 magnitude earthquake struck just off the coast of Chile, creating a small tsunami and numerous powerful aftershocks. The mega thrust quake was caused by the meeting of two continental plates, the Pacific and Nazca. Despite the high magnitude, the damage was actually very limited. 6 people did unfortunately pass away, and for the most part, structural damage was minimal. The problem, though, is that this may have just been the start of a much bigger event. Some experts have estimated that this earthquake only released roughly a third of the pressure that has been building up between the continental plates. Given that, it's fair to assume that a much larger, more powerful, and devastating quake may be due at any moment. Should this occur, the destruction would be much more immense. Unfortunately, there is no real way to tell when or even if this may happen. But it's something experts have been warning about for years now. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more just like it, then be sure to click the link on screen now. With that said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.